Hi, I've done a series of posts recently about trust and how we get it, how we lose it, how easy it is to lose it, how hard it is to get it. And the reason I did that was because I asked you, did you want to know more about trust? And there are four really important questions that people asked that I wanted to make sure we covered. And that's what I'm going to do here, is just really quickly give you a bit of an update on trust, talk about it, and remind you why I think it's so important. What I've seen over the years is people think you get trust just by being around doing stuff, and yeah, you can. But the reason in my video on the sort of 6 key areas of working with behavior, number 5 is deliberately having a plan to create trust, problem solving, and confidence. I think it's that important. You can't leave this to kind of accident, to good luck, good fortune, all those sorts of things that we just seem to think that if we get out there and do stuff together, it'll be okay. If I can manage to ride round the block, we'll get some trust. And for sure, yeah, you'll begin to predict your horse's behavior. Now, if it goes well, you'll gain a little bit of trust. But you'll still have the what if. And that's the thing people battle with all the time, the what if. What if this happens? What if that happens? And what's he going to do if? Maybe that could happen. What about if that tractor arrives? And it's just crazy. For me, one of the reasons that we've got the course on trust, problem solving, and confidence, and how to overcome that fear and anxiety that people have. And I don't think we should just be building fear and anxiety. I don't think we should just be building trust if we've got fear and anxiety. I think we need to do it all the time, regardless of the horse, young horse, older horse, familiar horse. This is your safety net, in your relationship and physically. If you're going to go out there and ride, if you're just going to go and lead your horse around, if you're going to take your horse in and out on a windy day, if you're going to go to a show, if you're going to do virtually anything, you need the safety net. That means you're going to be safe. Your animal's going to be able to trust you, that it can solve the problems you come across, and that you've developed that animal's problem solving ability so that whatever you come across in the future is going to be okay. And people leave that to chance. It's crazy. I see people get on horses that literally are terrified of walking over a piece of plastic or mat on the ground. And it's much more complicated than just doing a little bit of something. And people sort of look at it and go, yeah, but it'll be okay, and it's vague, and how do we get there? That's the point of having a plan. That's the point of having the shaping plan for trust, problem solving, and confidence. Is it takes you from where you are to where you want to be in those tiny steps that keep you safe, that builds through the issues with being on the ground, to riding, to just leading around, whatever the situation is. It is, for me, the fundamental. You have to do this exercise, and more than just doing it. People say all the time, oh, well, I've done a bit of work with an umbrella and a tarpaulin in the arena. And it's like, yeah, great. That is good, and I'm not knocking that, provided you only ever come across an umbrella and a tarpaulin in the arena. That'll really help. Anywhere else, you're going to be in trouble. But don't worry about that. And it's that fundamental, and that's why I created the course on problem solving, trust, and confidence online, so that people can explore this topic and deliberately make it the foundation of what they wanted to do. And I know people go, yeah, but I don't really need a plan, or I can just do the stuff. I have yet really to meet somebody who had a clear enough plan of the 120 steps in their mind to take them through the different layers, to take them consistently from groundwork through to riding work, and make it effective and make it really, really powerful, so that they actually got the results they want. And excuse me, I kind of figure that it's a bit like marriage guidance in a way. Is people start relationships and then they get into trouble and then they try and fix it, or they don't, and they fall apart and you get a divorce. And it shouldn't be like that. For me, with equines, let's start with a deliberate plan to have a brilliant relationship. This is where the trust comes from, deliberately making it a part of what you're doing. Whatever the issues are, it's really the foundation, and having that plan, it doesn't stifle things. People go, oh yeah, but if I have a plan, I won't be able to be fluid, and it'll take away the intuition and the feel. Not at all. It frees up space in your head to get all those things. knowing where you're going builds your confidence, body language, and ability to give direction to the animal so that they can give you the time and the direction and the understanding that they need. It's a truly liberating experience, is how I see it and what people talk to me about. And filling in the tiny detail, the bits that as humans we're likely to skip, the bits that we're not going to think, oh really, do I have to do that? You know, people, I see everybody talk about shaping plans and I see them a few weeks later, oh, it's in my head. It's the wrong place. You can't keep it in your head. It has to be out on a piece of paper so that you can follow that. You're not going to skip the steps. You're not going to bend the rules, and you're going to be consistent. And that's what you're trying to be with your equine. So that's why the course is there. That's why I think it's so important to have that written shaping plan. If you don't have that, where are you actually going to get that consistency in that direction? And as you'll see, you know, one of the questions was, how do I take this sort of process of trust from the ground to the saddle? And again, that's what a shaping plan does for you. You begin to say, right, I'm doing the work on the floor. Now, it has to be comprehensive on the floor. Don't just do the umbrella, the tarpaulin and that. We talk about generalization. We talk about layering and beginning to do all of these exercises in lots of different areas and repeating them so that the animal can understand not only the concept of each of the things that you're asking them to do, but how to solve a problem. And remember, this is totally about allowing the animal to learn, not making them do something. You can make them do something, but that doesn't mean to say they've learned how to solve the problems. So what we do is we begin to work on the ground, and we do it in lots of different areas, and we layer up a number of different obstacles and challenges that we can invent, and then we generally do it long reining. And I really strongly recommend, and if you need a shaping plan to teach your horse to long rein, that's great. There used to be a saying that you could wear out a pair of boots on a young horse, learning to long rein them and just walking them out, giving them skills. The reason I think it's so important is because I think it gives the transition between the horse following you and you being behind the horse when you're riding. Even if you've got a donkey and you're not going to ride, the long reining I think is still crucial because it gives that confidence in the same way. What I come across often is that people will say to me, no, she's really fine, she'll follow me everywhere, but when I want to ride, she's nervous. That's the point. You're suddenly going from, right, follow me, now you do it on your own. Now I know you're there, I know you're guiding, but it's totally different. There's no experience of that. So the shaping plan goes through, let's do it on the ground. Let's do it in lots of different areas. Let's layer it. Let's generalize. Let's do all those things. Then let's repeat that with some long reining. Now I know you're rolling your eyes. Oh, Ben, I don't have time for that. What? You don't have time for the safety net? You don't have time to build the trust? Well, then you ain't ever going to get it. You know, you have to put the work in. If you want the relationship, you got to do the time. And so you do the long reining, and then you repeat the process written, and you get all the way back to the start at each stage. So, you know, you might long rein around all your obstacles inside the arena, outside the arena. You don't need to have an arena, by the way, corner of the field. I was working the other day and I got some video I'm going to put up and maybe have a little look at this because it's about learning styles, which is just brilliant. Is inside a barn, inside the corner of the field with a bit of electric fencing, outside the corner. You have to use your imagination in whatever situation you're in, and they're seldom ideal. So I talk about arena, but I don't necessarily mean arena, and we don't all have that luxury. Use your imagination, create safety, but use your imagination. And then we work all over that area with going back to the long reining and then back to the riding in the safe situation, build it up through the same processes so that you can predict in your own mind pretty much how the animal is going to behave. The animal can predict how it's going to behave, and you work through that process. That's the only way I can see to take it from the ground to the ridden work, and it's just a process of following that, which, as I say, it sounds quite simple, but it is really the only way you can do it. You can't just magically feel it, and that's the mistake I think we make, is that we think because we've done some work on the ground, they're going to get it ridden. It's a different experience for them. The great news is as you do this, it gets faster and faster and faster and faster for them, because they're just piling on the information that they already do. They're building the neural networks that you want, and they're moving forward. Even if you've had bad luck in a relationship, and a lot of people talk to me about, I had bad luck, this happened, that happened. I think that is obviously true, and I don't want to take that away from anybody, but that's what I'm trying to avoid here, bad luck. You make sure you do the program, have the safety net. Then the bad luck isn't going to be bad, or the bag flapped, or the car pulled out and backfired. We want to put as much as we can on the horse's learning so that that doesn't happen and that bad luck isn't there. Really important to do that. And if you've had some bad luck, cool. You just start at the beginning of the shaping plan and you build it up, and that's how the animal relearns. And we build new neural pathways which overcome some of the old ones. That you're never going to get rid of them, but they're there. The new pathways are more familiar. They're stronger. They become that super highway that we talk about, that makes it easy and familiar for the animal to overcome the behaviour. And people, it's just doing the work, and it's doing the generalisation. It's doing the layering. It's doing the depth and level of work. And this is why a shaping plan is the 3 to 6 months of work for trust, problem solving and confidence that you're getting, so that you can just format that. And it depends on how much time you've got, and whether how much commitment you've got and all those things. But if you follow that plan, then you can rebuild that relationship and get over the bad luck that you feel you might have had. I just want to check that I got the question. One of the other questions was, how do we relate it back to the next person? So you've done a great job, but what about somebody else? And that's classic. Great. What you're going to do, and you know the answer by now, is just get them to follow the shaping plan. Now, it isn't going to take as long. You don't have to do it in as much detail, because the horse already has a repertoire of understanding how you deal with obstacles, how you solve problems. So you just start to bring in that second person at an easier level and have them build up. With certain tasks or things, just have the second person there, and swap over at the end of the session. Just let the other person do a couple of minutes at the end. I think the hard sort of transfer, where you go, right, I've done all the work, here it is for you, that's possible if you have that person start all over again at the bottom of the shaping plan. Much better to have a phased transition and bring them in at lower levels. So as you're sort of raising up and doing more and more, just bring them in here, and you could be doing long reining and riding, they could be doing stuff in the arena and obstacles, and that's okay. Don't have more than one trainer for one particular aspect, but you can bring them in and filter them up, and then a third person and fourth person, and then pretty much they begin to go, okay, so as long as a person behaves in a particular way, I can do that. Finally, great question that we had from Jackie was, what's trust like from the horse's point of view? And the truth is, how would I know? I'm not a horse. The best I can guess at and figure out is it's a sense of knowing. That moment, perhaps when you've got total trust in something, that you don't think about it, you don't second guess it, judge it, analyze it, because we don't think that horses' brains necessarily work in that way. I think what we're looking for is just a feeling, a sense of knowing, when they're not in the lost kind of, oh, is this going to happen, what's about this, what about that, maybe, could be, and having to analyze body language and watches and be concerned about what might happen. I think it's that relaxed state of knowing that everything's okay, that they don't have to be hyper vigilant, that they can deal with the things that come up, and there's a sense of calm that comes out of that. If you think about the horse you may be lucky enough to have built a relationship over a number of years, there's just that sense of stillness, that sense of calm, that we don't have to worry about situations. And best I can figure is that's what it probably feels like for the horse. And that has trust, is there's a sense of knowing, that feeling of just not thinking about it, as opposed to the the worry and the concern and the what are we going to do about this and how's that going to work, and that sort of frustration and stress and guessing that we see in the animal, whereas we get to a point when that animal might take a look at something and then just go, yeah, that's fine, deal with it. And you see them soften very, very quickly. You see them relax really quickly. You don't want to take out and have the dead sort of, learned helplessness where, well, do whatever, I'm just going to make you. And that's the difference between making and allowing. And really getting that horse. Now that comes through experience, it comes through opportunity to learn, and again, that's where the shaping plan comes from. It is the key, and if you want the relationship, putting the time in is actually where you build it. We're so busy trying to get to the point where we add trust, we forget to enjoy that process of getting it, of having the relationship, of working together. And that's what I'm trying to promote, is that we say, actually, this isn't separate and you have to endure all of this and then you get trust. This is the pleasurable bit. This is the bit that you enjoy working with your horse. And if you do it in the right way, as I say in the 6 steps, put your horse first DVD, it is about, if you can deliberately do this and enjoy the journey, that's what horsemanship and work is all about. You have to do the plan. And so in that course for trust and problem solving, that's really what we're trying to build on constantly, is these small factors. So I hope you've been enjoying the posts on trust. I hope that you can go and back and find them if you haven't got all 8 that have been posted so far. I've got a couple more to come. I'll probably try and find them. Maybe I'll put them into a little ebook and put them up for you to be able to find really easily, if that's a help. I don't know, maybe let me know whether that would be useful to have them all in one place or not. I hope this has helped. Go out, enjoy, use the time that you've got. It doesn't matter whether it's a few minutes or longer, but be thinking about allowing the horse to learn, not making them do stuff, and following the shaping plan. That safety net, I can't give you enough that sense that you will have of being able to be secure, and in your own way, just the same as the horse, of knowing. I always say to people, don't get on the horse if you're thinking, is this going to be okay? I'm sure it'll be fine. What happens if? You don't need to do that. You just need to know it's going to be fine. When you know you've done enough work, when you've seen enough, experienced enough, done enough layering, generalization, you won't think about, is it going to be okay? You'll just get on and go, because you know it's fine. And that's what we want, that trust, that is knowing, and that builds a feeling of contentment, of excitement, and that's really what we're aiming for, that you enjoy that relationship with your animal. Thank you, good luck, and let me know how you get on.